All right, everybody, we're back with another podcast or the Pilots and Drones podcast. That's right. We're talking monster trucks once again. This is going to be it. That was it for us. We just finished up in Farmington, New Mexico, where everybody loved it. That's right. You could see I have some new podcast equipment here. I am going what some people would like to call pro-am or pro-amateur, but we're here at the illustrious Drone Champs where you get repairs, classes, lessons. But this is the Pilots and Drones Productions podcast. This is where we talk about the latest and greatest happening with our company and what's happening with drones in the world. So we just finished up our tour with Monster X Tour, the Monster Truck Show. We've been dealing with them again, as you saw in our previous podcast, the past 14 years, the past 4 years. And we've really had a good relationship with them so far. It's been really great. We just finished up everything with the in Farmington, New Mexico. And Farmington, New Mexico is where we will be able to really end what we started with the NDL this year, the National Drone League. And that's really what's exciting out here, because what we're going to talk about is the wrap up, finishing this whole thing up, what we learned, what we didn't learn. There was a lot that happened. We definitely would like to go over all that kinds of all those kinds of things. The amount of shows we did, I think, if I can count off of my head, I think it was 7 or 8 locations and different cities throughout the United States. We were in North Carolina, we were in Washington, we were in Arkansas. We were just all over the place again this year. Again, New Mexico, Farmington, who just finished up. We'll be putting up some of that drone footage in this podcast. You'll see it, but we'll put it up on our YouTube later at YouTube at Pilots and Drones Productions. One of the biggest thing was the growth factor from the first show to the last show. These were all indoors. You could tell a lot of people were really happy about the drones coming, and that they were really looking for the drones, and that the drones have really become a part of the show, especially with the Monster Truck Tour, because what we offer is a good filler. It's great. And what we learned is a lot of good things. Crowd reactions was great. It was amazing. People are ready for drone racing. It just has to get more popular. This is a grassroots movement. It's got to be done one by one, shaking everybody's hands. It's kind of like a Savannah Bananas type of situation where, they were only selling 2 tickets at one point. Now they're selling out, huge stadiums and things like that. Their entertainment value is so high. That's where we're trying to get drone racing. Obviously the technical portion of it's very high, but when it gets to the entertainment value, it's very low, because right now with traditional drone racing, everything's so fast, the levels are so high, you're going up and down and all these things, and the laps are done in 2 minutes and then it's over and people are kind of guessing what they just saw. What we're trying to move to, again, is more of a NASCAR style drone situation where you have an oval track, you have drone teams, and people are racing against one another in a long period of time. You have 30, 40, 50, 60 lap races, 100 lap races, where you have pitting, and there's pit crews, and there's drama, and there's all this kind of stuff that leads to it. You only get so many batteries. You're not going to be sitting there with 16, 17 batteries all charged up. If the battery gets puffy, if you're pushing the battery too much and it explodes and catches on fire, that's a part of the show. There's a part of that thing with the danger with racing. Of course, we want to limit that as much as possible, but we want to make sure that there are limitations to the situation and that there has to be strategy when it comes to it. Exactly. Bing, bing, bing. Kind of the big wins that we saw was drone cam, flying it all the way around the stadium. This is kind of a new situation when it comes to drones, where it's an offering that it's not, say, so much production value that you're going to be acquiring as live experience value. So now you have a drone cam flying around the stadium. It's got LED lights on it. People are loving what they're seeing, loving what's going on, and they're a part of the show, right? So now, instead of guessing, like, oh, hey, is the cameraman looking at me or whatever else, or blah blah blah, or this or that, you can actually physically see the drone, and you could try to call it over to yourself and have an experience, get on there, or you can follow the drone around, and maybe it goes to certain points in the stadium, and there's points of interest. Maybe they have a former player or celebrity or something, or maybe you're supposed to do a TikTok dance or something like that. It makes it a lot of fun, and that's where I definitely the drone cam, it's here to stay. Whether drone racing comes forward or whatever else, but drone cam, that is definitely here to stay. And with it just creates so much crowd engagement. That's what you want as a live event. That's what you want as an arena. You want your people into it. You want the people to have a good experience. You want them to come back over and over again, spending their hard-earned money, their American dollars, right at your facility. And one of the best ways to do is go home with memories, right? I got on the drone cam. Oh, it was so much fun. Oh, hey, we can always go back to it. It's always on the YouTube and stuff like that. So it's always these reoccurring memories that we want to keep. Some of the biggest challenges that we did have, one is logistics, getting the gates and the lights and the power out to all the teams and things like that. It can be pretty expensive to ship these things across the country. We're on a limited budget when it comes to the drones, because we have to pay the racers. So the gates have to be shipped, and the lights and the power. That's why we're always looking for sponsorship. You can always sponsor the NDL. You can always sponsor our shows. And that would help us out a ton when it would come to logistics, paying racers more money, and just growing the sport itself, helping us with marketing, T-shirts, hat sales, merchandise, all that kinds of stuff. Because that's where we want to go. We want to lead into that type of situation where we are leading the pack and doing the grassroots, making sure someone goes home with a T-shirt, with a hat, or something like that. Coordination and flow, that's always a challenge. That's up to the producers of the show. The Monster Truck Tour, Monster X Tour, they have great producers. They make sure that the show moves along very well. A lot of the time they're announcing the show, so even they know how to do things on the fly, which is great. Those are some of the biggest challenges that we see when it comes to these situations. When it comes to the coordination, sometimes you'll show up and you're like, hey, there's a safety meeting, there's this, there's that. But when you're there, they might be doing something else. Like, for example, we showed up in Stockton. We drove 7 hours from Southern California, Northern California. We met the northern team up there. But when we showed up, they had a monster truck that was being built on site. So they had their own issues going on, and they had, kind of their priorities set, right? It's a monster truck show, so they have to have all the monster trucks together and ready to go. So we were low priority. We were already, we've been doing this 4 years. We know what we're doing. So they were just kind of like, you know what you're doing? We're like, yeah. They're like, good, go do your thing. So that's when the professionalism really comes in. And that's where working with professionals like the Monster X Tour really helps when there's troubleshooting, right? They show up, they got their own stuff. They're trying to run a show. They want it done quick. We're up there. We're trying to prove ourselves. We're trying to make sure that we perform to the best of our abilities, and we're not messing up their show. So, are we going to go into the hot take portion of this thing? I don't know where that came from. Am might be getting hot in here. Whoa, that was some steamy music. What was it? Steamy music. Okay, so we're gonna go to the hot takes. Drone racing will become a standard in live events within 5 years. I hope so. It should be going to live events my whole life, and baseball games, basketball games, things like that. It should totally be a part of it. Halftime shows, intermissions, all kinds of stuff. It definitely fits into that groove of live events. Most events are missing huge opportunities when it comes to intermission entertainment. Absolutely. When it comes to these drones, missing out on any type of this entertainment, intermission entertainment, especially with drones, is just going to keep the people coming, keep them entertained. Also, too, what we found out is people who aren't interested in it, it gets them going to the concessions quicker, which is what you want as a venue or what you want as an event person. You want them going, grabbing a couple more beers or a couple more hot dogs or a couple more basket of French fries. FPV is more engaging than traditional halftime shows. Absolutely, it puts you inside into the drone, into the cockpit. Right, you're doing you're flying the bird. That's right. You're the one out there flying. You're trying to soar through the air and learn what it is like to be a drone pilot, to be in the experience. It's immersive. That's the whole thing about this, is it's an immersive experience, and that's what makes it fantastic. And it can go. You could grab somebody from medieval times, not the show, but you could do it. Say, hey, put these goggles on, and they would say, oh my God, I'm soaring, I'm flying. It's a human aspect. Anybody can take it on, and that's what makes it such a great aspect to these new traditional halftime shows. Drone racing isn't just a sport; it's a show. Absolutely, absolutely. It can be both, right? It's just like wrestling. Someone made that a very good point to me once, where drone racing it can be done in two facets, just like wrestling. You got your show wrestling, where it's your WWF. I'm never going to say WWE. It's just so hard for me to say. I'm such a hardcore WWF fan, but you can't say that anymore because a Worldwide Wildlife Fund, they got in there. But gotta love those classic wrestling matches. But right, you're gonna make more money flying off the top rope, being Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, doing that kind of stuff, than you are going to be Kurt Angle as an Olympian rather than a wrestler. Right? He made more money as a wrestler than he did as an Olympian. And traditional wrestling, you're not really going to pack arena too much, unless you go to Iowa or something like that. Where if you go to a show, a wrestling show, most likely going to pack the house. So it is 2-in-1. Hopefully we get more traditional racing, more serious racing, and we can really get up to the situation where we can totally contact venues and get tickets and put up shows all over the world. That's the one thing about drone racing. It's international, and especially what we're seeing right here in 2026 with these wars going on. It's definitely on everybody's mind. Promoters will adopt early. The promoters who adopt early will dominate in their markets. Absolutely, we're seeing this with the monster truck show specifically. We were first on there. We were hot. We did a bunch of shows. We did like 16 or 17 shows right in the beginning. But then, boom, they cut us. They were like, you know what? You guys are too popular. You guys are up showing the monster truck show and everything like that. And when that happens, you don't want to do that, right? You're the side act. You're not the main act. So when you do that, you want to make sure that you're in your correct role when it comes to the show, right?
Awesome.
That's right. You want to be awesome. And so this monster truck show, they've taken it on early and they've dominated. You can just see there's just more and more and more shows. They understood the product value. They used to have, dirt bike jumpers and all this stuff at all these things. And it seems like the price point that since we come in so low and we are so decentralized. Remember, we have something at this point now. It's like 30 or 31 teams in something like 17 or 18 different states. So it's quite a bit. It's not just at this point, since we've become early adopters with the Monster Truck Show, we too are dominating. We too are the largest and the only drone race promoting show in the nation. There are some other drone race leagues out there, but they've only really stayed in one spot. We have really dominated the whole arena when it comes to bringing drones to the public, and especially these rural spaces. That's what I love about working with this Monster Truck tour, is that they're in these rural spaces, and we are bringing this stuff to people who normally wouldn't see it. They normally wouldn't see these drones. They normally wouldn't see the racing and things like that. And that's what I love about bringing this stuff to these shows. Okay. All right. Transitioning. All right. What we learned from the tour? We went all over it. What's next? Well, I guess what did we learn from the tour? What we learned was logistics was hard. We did learn that people want the drone shows. We learned all that stuff, and that's fantastic. That drones is here to stay. Here to stay as a halftime show. Here to stay as a form of entertainment for people. And as people learn, they will learn how fast and easy it is to set these things up, break them down. The entertainment value is high. The price point is low right now, but hopefully it creeps up higher and higher and higher, because that's the only way we're really going to promote drones in the United States is through racing, because everyone can't blow things up all the time, right? Everybody doesn't want to blow things up all the time. So what you got to do is you got to race. You got to be competitive, just like Formula One, just like NASCAR, just like IndyCar. Everything is done through racing. It's pushing, trying to get that next edge, trying to see what works, what doesn't, what's developing, what materials to use, what are the safety procedures, what can we use next? And that is what we want to see in drone racing. And that's what drone racing does. Because what we've seen now, right, is drone racing has now influenced the world. It has now influenced warfare. What we're seeing in Ukraine started with drones in racing. FPV started mainly in drone racing. The frames we're seeing, the people who are involved, the things that are going on is drone racing inspired. It started with all the drone racing, and it's going to continue through that. The only way you can push it more and more and more is through drone racing, because you have to collaborate. You have to internationally talk to one another. You have to see what goggles are the best, what controllers, what's the new system? Is it TBS Crossfire? Is it ELRS? All these different things. What's the new VTXs? Are you going to use thermal? What kind of cameras are you using? Are you still using analog? Are you using digital? Are you using walk snail? Are you using DJI? What's going on next? Is this Beta FPV PS1? Is that the next biggest thing where it gives you enough range and it's cheap and it's small and it can blow things up with if you're using it for Ukraine? Or is it the next big thing for racing, because you can actually see it's a cheap price point right now in 2026 at $45, and you can get some goggles for $165. So you're about $200 for an HD system, and you're ready to race, at an HD level. So that's what is next, and that is what we have learned from this tour. Now, let's break it down a little bit here. Why it works in arenas. Number one, no FAA rules indoors. That's right. You heard it. You heard it here, folks. That's right. No FAA rules indoors. That means you can fly. You don't need a license. You don't need any of that stuff. But the liability might be a little bit higher, because if you're flying indoors, most likely you're going to be flying around a crowd or something like that. But if you're doing inspections or anything like that, you don't need any of that kind of stuff. So Part 107 is not needed indoors. Also, too, there is a more safer aspect because you are indoors, so you can see everybody, and you're not really going to go fly off and do all these crazy things. That's why indoor flights can be very, very inspiring. They can be very, very uh, fun. Can be very stressful. There's a lot of things that come with the indoor flights, and why it works in these arenas. You're obviously getting it in front of a crowd that is not normally ready to see drone racing and what they're about to see. So that is why it really works. And also to the viewpoint. If you view drone racing, it's just like cars, it's just like sports. If you view it from a zero line, a flat line, it's a little bit difficult. But if you're looking down on top of it, then you get a little bit better aspect. Just like football, right? In football, if you're down at the ground level, it's very hard to see what's going on. But once you get up into those stands and you're looking down at the situation, it gives it a better angle, which is another great reason to have it in arenas. Also, to concessions, bathrooms, all types of stuff indoors, so you're not hot. You're in a controlled environment. Um, the audience, they can really see it. It's dark. You can control the lighting. Even if it's bright outside, you can see the speed. The novelty of the whole situation is great because people are excited. They want to see drones. They're being introduced to this situation. It definitely complements the monster trucks and things like that. So we want to make sure that it fits all into motorsports, sports arenas, where it's a controlled situation. It's kind of inside, and it's it's one it's inside, and that way you can really focus on it. That's the key. I guess that's where I'm trying to get at. Really, is that you can really focus on it, and it's all right in front of you. Rather than when you're outside, there could be a lot of different distractions and things like that. Again, there is a kind of a motorsport type of situation, that it's involved in. So that way there is a sense of danger and people understand they're real techie as well, kind of real techie people. And they're the ones that want to, that are interested in motorsports and in drones. So, how it actually works, we anywhere between 2 to 4. We really want to do 4. 2 is not really that exciting. It's hard to get 4 together, in some of these states, especially with FPV and the way the world is with the banning of drones when it has come um, to the United States, right? We now see uh, people or the government, they've banned drones, and it's not wasn't the best idea to do that right away. Um, we can all see now why it happened because there's some people invested into this situation that want to sell drones and want to make sure that you buy their particular product. There's not a problem with that. Nobody really has a problem with that, but or at least I don't. The problem that I had with that is they banned all this stuff, but they didn't give us any extra. They didn't give us an outlet. They weren't like, oh hey, um, okay, well we're going to ban these companies so then it can pump up these other companies. And the reality is, it's just like it was just like basically like one company that they were pumping out, or like a few companies. It wasn't like there was companies that were waiting at the door and like, oh my god, here we go, we're ready for the situation. No, it wasn't like that. So that's where you can really kind of see the situation um, getting kind of lost a little bit, where it can be hard to find pilots. Track layout, we've done it all. We've done multi GP tracks. We've done all the blah 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 blah, all the crazy stuff. Oval track, oval track, oval track. That's where it's at. People want to see it. They're being introduced to it. When they think race, they think a circle. Come on, it's been done since the Greek times. We're talking 5,000 years over here, people. Um, where and same thing, Egyptians, Romans, they're going in a circle, right? They're going in an oval, Ben Hur, all that kind of stuff. Um, the timing during the show, that definitely matters. If you're running a show, you only really have anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes, and you're going to get your stuff done. If you can set up in that time, you better be able to set up in that time, or otherwise you ain't going to be part of the show. And that's the way um, the timing works out on it. Safety systems, obviously, you want to have that in place. Safety is the key. You want to be the safest when it comes to this stuff, because um, what happens is they can crash, they can go off, they can do things, and the last thing you want is for anyone to get hurt. You don't want anyone to go. You don't want a drone to go into the stands or anything like that. But that's um, that's just how it goes. And again, drone cam integration, because even if you have a race, you can still have a drone cam flying over the other drones, getting video of the drones, and that's what you want. Now, value for promoters. Let me tell you, you got a lot of value when it comes to this. I mean, it is right now. The prices are pretty cheap. The value is extremely high. You're going to get people coming in, and they want to be able to see the drone race. They want to be able to get the drone race in there. People want to see it. All the kids love it, and that's why it's great for promoters. High energy. It definitely adds sponsorship value to it. It's a positive show and everything like that. It crosses social media as well. People are going to film it, and then they're going to tag your building. They're going to tag your show. They're going to do whatever it takes to, or not whatever it takes, but they're going to want to share it. And then it differentiates your event. You're right. We have drone racing. People want to see it, and they're going to show up for it. So again, the long term position in this is the National Drone League. We want to keep this going in stadiums. We want to be able to come to a town near you. We want to be able to make this happen with drones and drone racing. And that's where it really needs to happen. But again, a lot of this is only going to get done through indoors and things like that. So if we have to start in gymnasiums, we got to do things, high school gymnasiums, middle school gymnasiums. I don't care if it's a tent. We got to get this thing done, because it is the way to get it done, and that it's the proper way to promote the sport. All right. So with that all being said, you know, let's talk. Let's talk America. Let's talk drone world. What we got here is a call to action. We got to get out there. We got to get drones out there. We got to get drone racing out there. That way, we can make sure that this stuff is promoted the right way. We don't want it to be a situation where everybody just says, "Oh, you're a you're a drone pilot. You're part of the military. You might blow people up or whatever and all that stuff." Instead of it, we want it to be like, "Oh, you're a drone pilot. You're a racer, or you do the movies, or you do this, or you do that." We want it to be a positive thing, right? Because that's the only way it's really going to grow. You don't really have too many people growing up saying like, "Hey, I want to build missiles. I want to build Scud missiles. I want to do this. I want to do that." With it in that type of topic genre. It's more about doing positive things, being number one, getting endorsements, being the racer, right? You didn't have Michael Jordan, shooting basketballs for uh, defense or anything like that, right? He decided to use his talents for entertainment, which grew him into a very wealthy individual. We want the same thing to happen with drone racing, because we want this thing to be done in a productive manner, because there are positive things that drones can do for our society, and we want to highlight those portions. We don't want to make this thing all negative, right? We want to make sure that people know that they can be a drone pilot without having to worry about the stigma that comes with it. So again, pilots and drones, productions, baby. We're out there, we're pushing it, we're producing these shows, we're producing the monster truck shows, letting people know what's going on. This is definitely a stronger version than we've ever produced before. We're ready. We have the shop now. We got gates, we got shipping, we got logistics, we got lights, we got all this stuff down. So we're getting ready. We are ready as much as we can be, but this is the way it's going, and this is the way we want it to be, right? We don't want it to be a situation where we keep fumbling over and over and over again, year after year, decade after decade. Again, I just think that drone racing is a spectacular showcase, and it can be done in the right manner and in the right way. And I think that it can be promoted to the right people as long as we do that promotion in a way that captures people's attention to come to these shows, to get the goggles on, to take the drone ride along, to be able to get immersed and then get excited and get this thing going. Um, and looking forward, that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Of course, we have to thank the champions, the previous champions of the world, like the Sean Taylors and the Min Jim Kims and Evan Turners and things like that, right? The Alex Vanovers of the world. We have to thank them for doing this the right way. We even have to even really kind of thank DRL. They tried the first push really hard at this type of situation, but it just fizzled out. We went too big, too fast. I think especially with a situation like this, you got to start slow and you got to start low, and that's the way you're going to build up. You're going to be able to get this sport out in the open with everybody else. So again, we just finished the tour. Here's the truth. We love it. Drone racing's here to stay. It is going to be a big portion of halftime shows in the near future. You're going to see them start popping up more and more and more at certain events. Our next event that we have been invited to is the City of STEM up in Los Angeles. That will be happening on April 25th, I believe. Yes, April 25th at Exposition Park up there at USC. We'll be giving drone ride-alongs and be representing there. Again, if you can help us, make us go viral. But again, we just really appreciate you listening. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this podcast or watch this podcast on all platforms. We're on everything. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all different kinds of stuff. And we just look forward to sharing this. We're going to have some guests on this show. We love this medium. I finally got things together, right? Right? So we want to make sure that things are just perfect. And that's what we want to do. And thank you. We want to make sure that we can get the best quality to you, but we really want to get this out. And that's what works with podcasts and this form of medium. It's very, very popular. It's on everything, right? Spotify and all this stuff. We'll put that up there. But that's the number one thing that we want to make sure that we can get across is that we're going to get across our vision. We're going to get across our message to you as a viewer directly. And we want to be able to introduce you to people who can kind of get that will keep you engaged in drones and keep you engaged in what we do. So thanks again for watching. Again, visit our website, www.pilotsanddronesproductions.com. Visit our YouTube channel, Instagram. And once again, we'll see you on the next podcast.